In this video, we will record macro to transpose our data. And our data is in blocks. And each block is vertical and should be horizontal. And how can we change it? Doing it manually, we can just select our block, Ctrl C, then right click the proper place and here find transpose options. We have transpose data and we don't need this part, so we can now delete this part. Shift cells up, press OK, and then select another block and do exactly the same. So we want to record macro for just changing one block at the time. And what's important, so Ctrl Z, it's that we assume we are starting from A2 cell and we go one cell below, then we select whole range and we will be using shortcut, so Ctrl Shift down arrow, then we can Ctrl C and active cell. It's important that active cell is A3. Then when we click, right click on the A2, it means we will click one cell above. So we need relative references and we go transpose here. Now A2 cell is active, so one cell below, Ctrl Shift down, and if you like shortcut, Ctrl minus and Shift cells up, and active cell is A3. So the next cell in a line in the next block. So we are at the position we started. So now we will record this. So we assume we start from A2 cell. Then we go to Developer tab and we need use relative reference in almost all code actions here. So just use relative reference, click, and it's highlighted. Then we are recording macro and we call this macro transposing, something like that. And I want to add for this macro Ctrl Shift T shortcut to run it very fast and many instances of this. Now press OK, but remember now we are recording our steps, so be careful. OK, we start from A2 cell, we have to go one cell below, so we can press once arrow down or we can click with mouse. What is most suitable for you? Now we have to select all, and to be precise and to be relative, we will be using Ctrl Shift down arrow shortcut, Ctrl C now, and we can now use right click on the cell on the top, so A2 cell, and we are using transpose. We are transpose our data. A2 cell is now an active cell, but we have to go one cell below. So I prefer down arrow, then Ctrl Shift down arrow, and I like to use shortcut Ctrl minus, or we can right click and choose proper function, proper pop-up menu, and Shift cells up and press OK. We have select Excel is selecting range, but the most important thing for us that is active cell A3. So we can stop recording, and if everything go well, I can now use Ctrl Shift T key, Ctrl Shift T, Ctrl Shift T, Ctrl Shift T, Ctrl Shift T, Ctrl Shift T key, and then I can go to another worksheet because I have backups to test my macro, and this time I'm starting from A2 cell once again and Ctrl Shift T. I'm holding this so Excel will make it faster until it gives me an error, because he cannot copy to large size. And we can go and debug our code. We have problem with pasting special with transpose true. Why? Because we can see this range is selected, so from cell A10 to the last cell in worksheet, and there is more rows than columns in Excel, so transposing rows to columns, all rows to all columns isn't possible. So here we have an error. So let's stop our macro here, and we will analyze it in the next video. But the most important thing here, that our macro is just one block, one code block, and we can just by pressing the shortcut for macro and even holding it up down to make repeat our macro until we go to an error. Our code isn't perfect because we haven't learned about loops, but by holding down Ctrl+Shift+T shortcut, we create our loop by ourselves. We create it manually, and our loop stops when we have an error, and it's enough at the start, because in Excel formulas and VBA code the most important thing is to do the job we want